let's talk about moving goals, prioritizing goals. I could not decide what to call this video. Really the topic or the thing I wanted to talk about was moving goals to the new quarter and what that has to look like for your prioritization. And it really always surprises me how timely these topics are in my own life. I pick the topics. I know I've said this before, but I pick the topics for the quarter, an entire quarter in advance. So I work with a coach who helps me with my marketing and my content strategy. And we have a call once a quarter. And at that call, we pick the live topics for the entire quarter. So like we had our call this Monday. And so all of Q3's live topics are already chosen. So this topic was picked in March, the beginning of March. But yet it is so applicable to my goals in my life right now. So if you're like me, you may have mapped out the whole year. And truthfully, this topic applies for me both personally and with my business goals. Okay, so for my personal goals, I don't necessarily map out the whole year, but I definitely brainstorm way more quarterly goals and actions that I could possibly do for the rest of the year. And here we are. We're 2/3 of the way through Q2, but my June, if you watch my June goals video, I talked about how one thing canceled. So that is not totally true. I said that we have either company coming or we're going to be out of town every weekend. I did get one weekend back, but it's also the weekend that we have our community call and it's Pride Fest here in Chicago. So it's not really a free weekend. My mother-in-law was just going to be here and now she's not. Anyways, in my mind, I'm already thinking about which one of I'm looking at them. My Q2 goals, I'm not going to get to. I'm not going to finish in Q2. Same thing with my business goals. My business goals, I'm looking at and like, that I did not get to that. Like I didn't even get to that this quarter. And so I feel behind. And I put it in quotes because I've told you before. Sorry, my nose is itching. There's no such thing as behind. You are not behind. You just had unrealistic expectations. I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. And this you is me, like me, Laken, telling myself this. It's also me telling you a little bit of tough love. I am not behind when I look at these things. I just had really unrealistic expectations on what I was going to get through by the middle of the year. And that's okay. That is okay. It doesn't mean that the first 6 months of the year were a waste. It doesn't mean that I am an epic failure. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that the progress that I've made is slower and smaller than I expected it to be. And now I have to make some decisions. Now I have to decide which of these goals am I carrying over? Which of these goals am I letting go of? Which of these goals am I going to repeat? Which of these goals am I making smaller? Which of these goals, whatever. And so I'm going to give you 5 permissions today. Again, the irony of all of this is that I picked this topic 3 months ago, and then I was sitting to work on these outlines a couple of days ago, and I was like, I'm just talking to myself. This is me just telling me what I need to hear as I start to brainstorm. I started brainstorming for Q2 on Monday as well. Or I keep saying Q2. I mean Q3. Like I started brainstorming for Q3. Okay. So number 1, it's okay to repeat goals. There is never going to be a world. Well, that's a really bold statement. I don't necessarily like using the phrases like always, never, like the extremes. Like that's not always the case. Here we go. You know what I mean? Like that's really extreme and unnecessary. It is unlikely that I will always be able to estimate exactly how long things are going to take. Even as somebody who has set goals for however many years at this point, I am going to overestimate what I can get done, which means I'm going to have to repeat goals. So, spoiler alert, when you see my Q3 goals video for both personal and business, there's going to be some repetitiveness. There are going to be some goals that I'm going to repeat, that we're going to do again. It could be ones that I made a little bit of progress, but not enough. It could be ones that I made zero progress. It's okay. Along that same line, it is okay if goals take longer than you thought they would. It is okay. Your ability to estimate how long a goal is going to take you is not directly correlated with your ability to achieve that goal. Let me say that again for myself. Your ability to estimate how long a goal is going to take you is not correlated with how your success at achieving that goal. That is not a requirement. You do not need to know exactly how long that goal is going to take you in order to achieve it. What you need to achieve it is a breakdown, a plan, committing on the steps, but you don't need to know how long it's going to take you. So if it is going to take you longer than you thought, guess what? That's okay. It is okay to let goals go. It is okay to say, that is not a priority right now. It is okay to say, I do not have the resources for that goal at this current time. It is okay to say, I don't want to. It is okay for you to cross something off and let that not be a goal right now. This is me giving all of us permission to let goals go. On the flip side, it's okay to add new goals in. Just because it's the middle of a year doesn't mean you can't add something new. In fact, last month I did a hot seat coaching on I guess maybe my last hot seat coaching, since I've not taken that off of the community, about adding in a new goal. And the crux of it is that if you're going to add a new goal, you have to reallocate resources. So it is going to mean that you either need to cut a different goal or take resources away from another goal, whether that resource is time, energy, money, space, etc. But it's okay to add a new goal in. Now, it could be like Brittany, who shared that she's pregnant. So she doesn't really have a choice but to add a goal, not necessarily a goal about being pregnant, but likely your resources are going to shift. I know you have been pregnant before. That first trimester, the exhaustion is real. My guess is that is something new. So even if it's not a new added goal, it's a new life situation. But it is okay to add a new goal in. Technically, adding in this in-person meetup is an add-in for me. Now, I'm not making it a specific goal. I'm just kind of adding the action steps to kind of some other things. But it is taking up resources, both time and financially for me, and I have to keep that in mind. But don't think just because it's June, you can't add a new goal in for the year. Okay, number 5, the last one. And again, this one I also wrote for me. It's okay to go with your gut. I have always been a very logical person. I was a math major. I have a very pro-con list, logical brain. And I've always felt like I needed all of the information in order to make a decision. When we interviewed photographers, I had a spreadsheet with 17 questions that I was going to ask. I did not ask them because as soon as I got on one call, I kind of immediately knew in my gut whether this was even a yes or a maybe or a no. And then the maybes, then I was like, I don't need all this information. I just need some big hitter information to make a decision. And ultimately I went with my gut on our photographer. I learned somewhere that I reference so often and cannot find the resource, but I learned somewhere that your gut is just your brain making a decision really, 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 really fast based on all the information that's already in your head. It is your brain taking all the information that you've gathered over the years of your life and calculating a really quick decision and sending that feeling to your gut. And wherever you feel that, we say your gut because a lot of us feel it in our stomach. You could feel it in your heart, in your chest. You could feel it in your head. You can just feel it in your body, in your tension, your shoulders, wherever you feel. It is okay to trust that. In fact, most of the time, that's might be the best option is to just go with your gut. So as you are starting to make decisions and think about Q3, deciding what you're going to carry over, what you're going to maybe add, what you're going to let go of, what you're going to continue with in the next 6 months, keep these things in mind. Okay. If you need, now this was all kind of like mental mindset typey stuff. If you need some more tangible steps, we are doing a free challenge. It is going to kick off over the weekend. None of it is live. It's all pre-recorded videos coming to your inbox. Totally free, but it's coming to your inbox. It's going to be a video and a worksheet. There's going to be 3 steps, like they're less than 10-minute videos. They're very short, and a worksheet. And these are going to be more tangible steps about prioritizing and deciding what you're going to do in the next 6 months. Whereas today was a little bit more mindset. But if you're interested in joining, the link is in the description box. You can sign up. That is my worst problem. I have way too many expectations for myself that I already know that I won't meet. Oh, that's even not fair for you. When one of the things I always try to do at the end of like a goal setting or planning session is look at it and be like, is this realistic? Like, given what I know, the information that I know, the world doesn't blow up. Is this realistic? And if we go into it thinking it's unrealistic, then we're never going to feel the confidence that we can accomplish that. I really appreciate the coaching video where you walk us through project planning and remind us to lean towards giving ourselves more time when we anticipate how long it will take. Yes, Susie, I'm not sure what video that is or what you're referencing, but I do regularly tell you and myself, I would rather overestimate than underestimate. I would rather round up on the amount of time that I think it's going to take than round down. So if I am making a project plan and my instinct, my initial reaction is like, that's going to take me 2 hours, I'll put 3 down just to add a little bit of a buffer. Yes. Oh my gosh, Jennifer. I needed to hear this. I had no idea at the beginning of the year, or even in April, that I would be moving, selling my house, and starting a new job. You couldn't have predicted that. And so you are allowed to change your mind from what you originally thought the rest of the year was going to look like. I am in the same boat. Unrealistic expectations. I keep reminding myself that done is better than perfect. And I've been reciting this over and over for several days. Also, y'all, I lost my actual straw for this thing. That's why there's no lid, because I have a big thick straw. But same, like it is, something is better than nothing. This is the first year I'm adjusting goals as we move forward month to month, week to week, and not giving up on annual goals by February. And a big part of this is thanks to our community group support. This comment makes me so happy, Susie. Thank you. We have to make adjustments. We can't, that is what I failed at in the past. I mean, I had lots of failures. I did a whole video on that, like my goal mistakes. But one of my big ones was setting goals in December for the year and like never making adjustments, thinking that I was going to be the same person with the same life and the same resources for an entire 12 months. Like, no, that's just not, no. Thank you for sharing that. I'll pay more attention to my gut. Sharon, and I did too. Once I learned that, I started paying more attention to my gut. And maybe not paying attention, but trusting it and letting it guide me. Because it also saves me a lot of time, right? In the past, I would be known for like these giant pro-con lists and these, big decision trees. And the time that would take to gather that information and then make the decision. Whereas if I just went with my gut, it's faster, right? Now, I understand and appreciate that there are some decisions that you can't go with your gut on. There's a current decision our family is talking about that I have a spreadsheet for that I'm not going to go with my gut on this one. I'm going to gather the information and make a decision with a combination of my gut and information. But then there are some decisions that are like, you don't need to overthink it. Like I'm trying to think of like a simple, like straightforward example. I don't even know. I can't come up with examples on the fly anymore, y'all. They're bad. That's one of the things that broke my brain with pregnancy. But yeah. Obviously, you know your life better than I do. So if a decision truly deserves all of the details and the knowledge and the information and the time, give it that. But if it is a decision that you find yourself overthinking, just go with your gut.